And after several weeks of them doing the open stage comedy night, it's on my bucket list. I want to do stand-up comedy. What's interesting about this night was I signed up for the comedy night. I'm still working. So I'm like, keep moving me down the list, move me down the list. I'll be off soon. I get off work, sitting at the end of the bar where I always sit, and anybody that knows me knows exactly where I sit at the end of the bar. So on this particular night, I'm on the list to do comedy. Apparently at some point in time, a couple, her boyfriend is running around the bar from the front to the back, got his girlfriend's purse in his hand. I can't find my girlfriend, blah, 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 blah. I can't find her. Where's my girlfriend? Jeff goes, did you check outside? He's like, yeah, I checked outside, I can't find her, I got a purse, I don't know what happened to her. Jeff's like, did you check the women's room? He's like, I don't know where she is. So Jeff proceeds to go to the women's room. Anybody that's ever been in Hambones know exactly where the women's room is. It has a little latch hook on the inside of the door. Jeff pushes on the door doesn't move. Being the big-bodied person that Jeff was, this is what Jeff does. He throws his weight into the door. The door doesn't budge an inch. I'm sitting there, and I go, give me a minute. I go up, I stand in between the two door frames. The door blows open. If you've been in the women's room, you know for a fact the toilet's here. The sink is right there. Here is this chick with her head on the sink, passed out. And if you've been in that bathroom, you do realize that when that door opens, it barely misses the end of that sink by about an inch. Here I am in the door frame, hit the door with my ass, and the door literally, I ripped it off the hinges, the door flies open, her hair moves, she doesn't blink. We actually get her out of the bathroom, get her outside, call her a cab, and she's like this on the... But later that night, I got up and did my little stand-up bit. And of course, I'm up there going, well, a little bit earlier, me and Jeff had this little problem. He puts his entire weight into a door and it doesn't move. I sit in between there and use my ass cheeks and bust the door open. From that time on, it was hefty, 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 wimpy, wimpy, wimpy. Yeah, I think you were there that night.
That's all I was looking up for.
I remember that night.
You were there that night. He put his entire weight in the door and it went. I'm not in any of them.
No, I think I have you in one.
No,
There's definitely one.
I'm there longer than everybody,
I
damn it.
promise you're in one of those pictures. I'll show you, Greg.
Hey.
And like, it's not like, and actually the beat, like, some of them were pretty cheesy. Like, you know, even like
Like our families out there, so it's not like we'd be homeless. Be like, okay, we just have to crash like family out. Like, yo, we can't talk or something.
Okay, we'll go do your thing. You want to meet us back at Bell's?
I would weirdly like that's the best idea. Oh, that's there's not a lot going on. Things differently. I used to be into it. I can't sit around there anymore.
So, might as well.
Yeah, so but maybe it's like us. I've been kind of hanging back a little bit. I wouldn't let everyone. Except for that whole song. I know. Yeah, I have been like the whole part and experience
Guaranteed you are.
Those pictures were from after I was gone.
Not that. Maybe I'll go and see you. What does it make a difference if it's a good ad? No, like my family. What's going on there?
I still have that picture. I still got that one on everybody.
No, he wasn't. So far, he's still.
Come in, one at a time and go to the restaurants, come back out, hang around.
But it is like, it's a great opportunity. I mean, good value is like, thinking about like, that section of the world is not cheap. It's relatively safe and like nice.
But if I'm going to go to Vegas or New Orleans or New York or Chicago, it's so cheap to grab those deals.
No, I think
Hey, Greg.
I was wondering when you would figure out when you would remember me.
Oh, I remembered you. I was just recording video. But how have you been?
Yeah, been better. Good overall.
Yeah, same. That's good.
I've created such a sanctuary for such a variety of artists in the city. In a world where everything is becoming so censored and restricted, and thought is becoming so limited now, he really created a freaking sanctuary for people to come and be themselves and take a chance and really make something from the heart. And that's gonna live. That never goes away. That's gonna live forever. Back in 2-3 Octobers ago, I had the biggest opportunity of my life in stand-up at that point. I was opening up for my favorite comic, Sam T, at Hambones, October 6th. And about 2 weeks before that, I bought a new piece of hardware for consuming plants, if you will. And I was going to enjoy it with my friend Kevin for a second, and I mixed up the address. So I knocked on the wrong door, and this person had a Ring doorbell camera that I guess I was aware of it because I didn't know it wasn't my friend Kevin's house though. So I waved my new piece of hardware in front of his Ring doorbell camera, and it ended up on the news a lot, like 981 shares on Facebook type of deal. And it was me looking real ghoulish. You can look up the Crafting Creeper photo, me black and white standing there looking confused. You know, it got big, and it drew a lot of people to the shows. Moved a lot of tickets that night, and for every time I saw Jeff for like 3 years, the first thing he'd come up to say to me before you know we'd get the drinks flowing, he'd go, "Hey man, you wound up on any strange porches tonight? You ringing any doorbells?" I'm gonna miss that a lot. I will every time I'm in Crafton. I'm gonna look up at the sky, send a big old hook of hay up to our man. Right, I brought my didgeridoo and I brought my flute, and I'm gonna do a little throat singing. I composed a piece in my head called "Nothing Lasts Forever, but the Party Never Ends," and it's hopefully will help us all to remember to celebrate the beauty of impermanence in this fall season at this event. So this is called it's called "Nothing Lasts Forever, but the Party Never Ends." May our brother have a good place amongst his ancestors in the next round, Creator. Yeah, just feeling good. Feeling all the love that's here today. Celebration.
Nice job. That was awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we will see each other before sundown.
I would much rather.
Good. How have you been?
Videoing?
Yes. I just got finished videoing the performance.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I remember when he would come to the open mic with the didgeridoo, and the entire room would fall into this extreme zen state. I remember Jeff liking it too. He would come in, enjoy that.
He was just telling a story about the time he went to the wrong house and rung the doorbell, and the doorbell camera took a photo of him, and it ended up on the news. Like, this suspicious guy and just stoned off his ass holding his didgeridoo. You know this guy's like, hey, it sounds cool. Holding his didgeridoo too, I like that.
Weird robber. He just breaks in. We killed all my fish with his didgeridoo.
Bunch of people, famous people, and their jazz dance. Okay. I don't know what that is. You know, I talked to him once. He goes, what are you interested in doing? And I'm like, well, I'm a musician. I do this and that. And he goes, yeah. I don't know what I could do with that. And he goes, Chris. I'm on camera. I can't. What's happening? I can't answer the question.
Listen, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna go say goodbye to a few people. Good seeing you, man.
Yeah, good to see you. Take care.
You safe when you're turning? We might get home and I'll come back to you.
You doing it still?
I haven't in a while.
It was always great. It was always great whenever everybody give it up for Harry. In the trash can, they go home. That's like your mom riding on it, and it's nothing crazy. You're like, oh shit, that's something.
That's shit talking right there. I'm all about that.
And he lost the paper. And then he just got it. And I grabbed it, took it, looked at it, and I was going to put it out and make it. But like, I don't think I ever thought it was better. Like, one was like a sign of her. Oh, that's cool. I know. I tried. It wasn't like a broken moment. I don't know. It was a fun, like, love picture.
but as long as Jeff was there. Thank you all for being here. It's really cool that you all came out for this. Just as a friendly reminder, anyone is more than welcome to come up here and use this microphone to speak or perform, no matter what your relationship with Jeff was. There is a bag of mic condoms down here. They're condoms for your microphone. You know why. I don't need to explain why. You know why. But I really, what we'd like to do is, invite anyone up who would like to say something about Jeff. I'm going to talk for a little bit. But I'd really encourage you, we're going to like to do kind of like a vigil at the end of this before it rains and we destroy the thousands of bags of chips we have. I request one thing from all of you. Please take something with you. Good God, we have 14,000 pounds of deli meat right now that is just waiting for a good home. Even if you want to feed it to a dog or perhaps a small Wolverine, it's absolutely fine. Nope, I don't care what you do with it. Please take it. There's too much shit here. We did too good of a job. There's no children here, right? Thank you, children. Thank fucking God. I was really scared I was going to have to tell this story in a clean, delightful way. But I will not do so. I worked with Jeff over at Papa J's Centro, which is, if you're not familiar with the building, it used to be a brothel, and then they turned it into a bar. So they took out the best part of it, that's some people's opinion, but whatever. So Jeff brought me over. One night he just tells me, he's like, we're not doing the open mic anymore. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It's terrible in general. And he's like, I'm going to this bar called Hambones. And I'd never set foot in this place before in my entire life. So we show up there and we're doing the open mic for a couple months. And we had this one particularly bizarre evening about 3 months in. And after this happened, I was convinced that Jeff Holt would never, ever let comedy happen in that establishment ever again. It was probably a poor decision on his part, but we still have comedy. But whatever. I have to give you a little background to this set of events. And this particular evening at Hambones, a reality film crew was in the bar for a show called The Great Norwegian Adventure. It's real. The front of Hambones is in The Great Norwegian Adventure. One of the contestants was from Pittsburgh, did open mics in Pittsburgh, and so that was like his cool backstory thing. You know, like when you watch like some reality show, it's like, and this guy loves knitting. Like, that's what it was like, okay? So, there's a reality film crew there which brings like every single comic out of the woodwork to go to try to get a reality TV show credit, right? So Hambones is like at capacity, okay? And that night, I normally host the Thursday nights, but I did not. Instead, I had a friend of mine who will remain nameless. Host the mic. And to give him a little backstory, a couple months before that, he made a not nice joke on the internet. It wasn't good. And people got mad. Backstory, there you go. It'll come, it's Chekhov's backstory right there. I'll come back in the third act. So, the mic is nuts. I show up there, host, he's doing a great job. The room's full of people. Jeff's in the front row, sitting there when he's drinking a beer. We're all hanging out, having a good time. And this new comic gets to this stage, never been up there before, immediately starts doing these kind of like stock, like war jokes, like kind of like soldiery kind of jokes. And it's like, this is weird. This is a little weird, but you know, whatever. It's the first time. And then suddenly, this person just starts directing all of their energy towards the host. Because like I said before, they were mad at him because of a joke he made on the internet that I will not repeat here. I'm not. There's no way I'm gonna fucking do it. I've done it before and the crowd shuts down. You're like, fuck you, Derek. I really fucked up everything in my life about hearing about that. It was bad. So I'm not doing it. Just imagine a terrible thing someone said and people getting mad. Just do it yourself, okay? So, this person just starts screaming at the host and they're getting madder and madder and madder. And me and Jeff were sitting there, we're beginning to realize how like this situation is going. And like, we're like, hey, calm down, we're like, whoa. This woman, and the host is just sitting there, not reacting at all. Just like a fucking gargoyle, right? just all this terrible shit's being said, and he just sits there. And this person who cannot elicit this response from this person, we're trying to call him out for this, eventually at one point just picks up a glass and hurls it and misses. And at this point, we realize when everyone starts standing up that she's brought like 10 friends. And this room is full of comics and people. And so this just, all of a sudden, this just becomes this giant barroom brawl. Like, somebody grabs this woman on stage at one point, and she just starts kicking over tables. Like, glass starts going everywhere. At one point, someone screams at that woman to let her go, and they let her go, and then immediately that woman punches that person who said to let her go in the face. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. To this day, I've never seen anything funnier. Like, you gotta let her go. Then they get down. Like, Chef gets punched in the face, he gets beat with a mic stand, I get beat with a mic stand. Every table, like, except for if they could have flipped the booths, they would have. Like, that's like how bad of a situation it was. And then they just like run out the door. And they're just like, God, there's shit just everywhere. And there's also like a group of, this is my favorite part of it though, it makes it seem like the comics like fought these people. Really, it was like some random bar patrons fought them and all the comics just hid against the booths. Like, we were not brave people. We act like it. We're a bunch of pussies. It's the absolute truth. But, like, after that, like, I'm just convinced that Jeff's never gonna let this shit happen again. Like, there was a fucking riot in his bar. Like, that's an insane thing to do. And, like, we joked about, like, having the host back the next week, and we had comedy again the next Thursday. Like, he let shit like that happen. That's incredibly irresponsible. But that was Jeff. Like, Jeff let you fail. Like, he was willing to let people use that stage to grow. Like, I'll tell you this, we've never had a riot since, so, like, what does that fucking say, right? So, listen, if you want to come up and share something about Jeff, or talk, or no one can come up here, I don't give a shit, but please take chips no matter what you do. That's it, okay? So, I'm going to take this mic condom off here. If you want to put one on for yourself, there's a bag right here, and you can go nuts, all right? Cool, thanks, everybody.
There's a tomato on the ground over here. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Should I put the condom on even though I'm keeping my mask on? Sure. Yeah, why not? That'll be sexy. Double protection. Better safe than sorry. Drew just wants to see what the costume is. Yeah, I mean, they don't always work if Derek was just up there. It's been a really long time since I've touched anything that's in a condom. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, there we go. There's more than one in a pack. So now someone has to touch it. My name's Amy. I called Jeff a friend and a boss, and mostly a friend. One of my favorite things about Hambones is that it's everybody's home. And I know that anytime I walked in there and didn't recognize anyone, they all felt that way. And that felt really good. I came from Philly, and I didn't know anyone. And the first place I ever drove was to Hambones. And I went to open mic, and I met people, and I had a community, and I had someone who let me fail on stage. And I brought kids that I teach to also have that moment on stage, and Jeff let that happen, and it meant so much. I really would love for that to live in all of us, and for us to give each other that chance to fail, and give each other that chance to be lifted up, like that room did, even though the ceiling's crumbling down. I think there was a little piece of Jeff's habits that drove us all nuts. But that's one of my favorite parts about him, is that he never claimed to be perfect, and I never wanted him to be perfect. I just wanted to see my friends anytime I walked into Hambones, and I did. And I really appreciate the friendships that I've made there. And I thank you all for loving him, because he deserved it. And I encourage you to keep loving each other just the way that he let us love each other there. Thank you.
Here, let's give up Big Jeff Holt. If you know what Jeff Holt yells, it's a 1 and a 2 and a Jeff!
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy, and I'm one of the many musicians who found a place to express themselves week after week because of a man who supported the arts in our community. And I walked into Papa J's about 10 years ago, and I was so excited because I was walking down the Boulevard of the Allies, and I looked up and saw a sign that said Papa J's, and I was like, I have to go there because my roommates in college called me Papa J, and I was like, oh, I found my spot. So my first open mic experience was at Club Cafe and met some friends, and one Monday night I was hanging out afterward, and oftentimes we would go down to Mario's and Blue Lou's and hang out, and I was talking with my friend Blake, and we had just met each other, and I was telling him that I was interested in the paranormal. And Blake looks at me and he says, man, if you're interested in the paranormal and you're a musician, you gotta check out this place called Papa J's. It's this old brothel and it's totally haunted and you're gonna love it. And it's run by this man named Jeff Holt, and I think you'd really get along with him. I shit you not. 15 seconds later, he looks over my shoulder and says, oh, there he is. He's walking in the door now. And I turn around and I see Jeff Holt walking into Blue Lou's. And Blake flags him over, and that was the first time that I got to meet Jeff Holt. And I went to Papa J's. I was interested in like the paranormal stuff, as I said, so I brought my camera and my recorder and my guitar, and I got to like go around and explore a little bit, and but I fell in love with the music that was happening there, and I ended up going there every week, every Wednesday night, almost every Wednesday night for the next 2.5 years, 3 years, I don't even know. I started helping host duties whenever Anthony Jardine was unable, and it became kind of like a family. A lot of you who went there, you know. I don't have to say much about Jeff's character because you guys all know he was supportive, he was hilarious, and he had a really good heart. So when Jeff got the position to go and call ownership at Hambones, we set him off with a party at Papa J's. Every closing, I stayed till closing every night, and he would always end the night. It was the cue that it was kind of like time to get the fuck out. He would play Africa by Toto, every single night. So on that very last day of our open mic there, I wrote a version of Africa dedicated to Jeff, and I'm not going to play that tonight, but I played that. I played that last year for Jocelyn's memorial for him. I busted that back out. Maybe I'll share that later online or something. But then a couple of musicians, we took the open stage to Hambones. My buddy Dave was one of those. I know Chet Vincent was here earlier, and then Brad Yoder. We every Tuesday would trade off, and it was slow at first, but man, it's been wonderful over the years seeing that room packed full of musicians, even if I haven't really been around. And I've always felt really proud of that space. And it's not just for musicians, for comedians too. I mean, Jeff was a comedian. He was hilarious. And one night, Jeff was also, you know, he was a good business guy to an extent. You know, he had good ideas. So anytime Acoustic Cafe were closed because of a Monday holiday, Jeff would take full advantage of this, and he would jump on the Monday nights. And there was one night where Bob Banerjee was hosting, and it was the 6 o'clock early music open mic and the late comedy open mic. And I went to the open stage to play music, and I played. And I met this man who was Australian, and he was playing, he borrowed someone's guitar, and he was like talking about his travels, and I was like, why are you here? So I got to talking with him, and he said, you know, I'm in Pittsburgh because I'm getting my instrument tuned in West Virginia. It's a specialty instrument, and I'm like, well, what is this? And he's like, well, it's something called a hand pan. It's something called a terrapan. And I said, oh, that's really interesting. I'm like, oh, I've seen videos of those on YouTube. So this turtle shell thing right here is that instrument. If it wasn't for Jeff cultivating that space and doing what he did, I would never have been introduced directly to this instrument. I would not have received this instrument if it wasn't for Jeff Holt. And this instrument has been such a blessing in my life. And you know, I've had a lot of death in my life, and I consider it my greatest teacher. And it brings people together, so it's really good to see you all together here. I'm going to share a song on this instrument that's called Spirit Maze, and this is a very special song to me. I played this song at my mother's funeral, and I'm playing it now for Jeff. And last year I played it for Jocelyn, and it is my belief and knowing that they are all energetically more well than we can imagine. So, to Jeff, thank you for bringing us all together.
Close to the microphone.
He might have turned it off. Is the switch on? Shit.
There we go. That's how I used to be a rodent. So, Jeff was the first guy ever to give me a place for my band to play. That was at Papa J's, and that was almost 12 years ago at this point. And Jeff always joked with me because I was his favorite Acapulco singer, because he could never say acapella. So I was his favorite Acapulco singer. So there was that. A year ago tonight, we were gathered at Hambones. And this was brought up just a little bit ago by Jeremy. 1 year ago is when we said goodbye to Jocelyn at Hambones. And she passed away earlier in the year, and then now Jeff, literally a year later, we're doing his memorial on the very same night. And it's difficult for all of us, most of us, comedy scene, music scene, art scene, we haven't seen each other. And it's kind of been hard for all of us, like literally, I haven't given Amy a hug in 8 months. And we got to hug each other's arms today, so I'm pretty happy about that.
It was awesome,
Yeah.
let me tell you.
But I just wanted to sing this out to Jeff from his favorite Acapulco singer.
You're ours too.
Many years back when these old oaks were young, not long after the Northmen had come, a low and evil deed was done in the dark of the New Forest. Dark of the New Forest. From the shores of Normandy, King William came to Albion fair, King Harold to slay. Greed in his heart and a scurrilous claim. He took the land for his own. He took the land for his own. Now John was a blacksmith, an honest old man. He raised up his children and he worked with his hands. And his family's fought in a patch of land. In the dark of the New Forest. In the dark of the New Forest. King William rode out after his victory to ravage the land his hungers to feed. From hunting grounds in the Wessex trees, he took the land for his own. He took the land for his own. If you steal the land of an Englishman, then you shall know this curse. Your firstborn son's warm blood will run upon the English earth. Now King William's son was called Rufus the Red. He took up the crown when his father was dead, and rode the hunting grounds in his stead. In the dark of the New Forest, in the dark of the New Forest. John's curse had called out, and Lord Tiro fired low. His arrow struck Rufus with a sickening blow, and he fell from his horse to the ground below. And the land took him for its own. The land took him for its own. Steal the land of an Englishman, and you shall know this curse. Your first warm blood will run upon the English earth. Many years back when these old oaks were young, not long after the Northmen had come, a low and evil deed was done. In the dark.
There's no activity on YouTube.
I did leave an open thing of another condom if someone wants to go have these on this. So I feel like my story about Jeff Holt, it's not extraordinary, but I think it speaks to the kind of person he was and the kind of bartender he was. And I think it's a story that a lot of us have. He was just a very incredibly kind and attentive person. I first met Jeff about 7 years ago when I first started doing improv, and they used to have Witty used to have the 5 and Dime night. Better remembers that it was like the practice improv on Monday nights. And I started going there, and I really felt at home at Hambones, and I really felt like I had found a lot of people that really understood my love for comedy. And just to kind of speak to it, I've been going there for a few months, and then a little while after that I started transitioning and doing stand-up. And within a couple months, it got to the point where I would just walk in the door and he would kind of greet me with it like that, hello, and would just have a gin and tonic on the bar waiting for me. And there were many times that I would walk past it and he would wave me down and be like, I already got you your drink. What are you waiting for? And it got to the point where I was just accepting it. And I remember a couple of years ago, there was actually a couple of months where I quit drinking. But I didn't tell Jeff, and I forgot, and I would just keep walking in, and he just always had it waiting for me. So it got to the point where I'd be like, oh no, I don't drink, but I will accept this one drink that Jeff just puts out on the bar for me, and just started going to Hambones with a 5. And I think like that's just the kind of guy he was. He was just very attentive. I feel like over half the people here have that same story and that same experience of just Jeff knowing you. And it's something as simple as just knowing your bar order. And while it seems incredibly personal to you, and it's just like, it's great that he knows that. He knew that about everyone here, and a lot of people who weren't here too. And I think that just speaks to his level of attentiveness and just getting to know people. And I think it's really incredible that there are so many people here, and I think there are so many people who still aren't here, that really got to experience that love and acceptance from Jeff. Especially, you know, when people are artists and they have a lot of people who don't understand them, who they feel, you know, don't really get them or don't support them. And I think it's just a really rare thing that we had under Jeff at Hambones. It was just a true one-of-a-kind experience of just having someone that was always in your corner no matter what. You know, unless you were that guy that got tossed out of Hambones forever for